In this episode of Odessa After Dark, we continue with our three-part series on the unsolved murder of Umberto Palma. Today I will talk to his sister, Miss Palma, at Odessa Crime Stoppers. Hi, this is Daniel Ryan with Odessa After Dark, and I am here with Yarima Palma, and she is the sister of Umberto Palma, who was murdered on September 29th, 2014. So the first thing I want to ask you is, tell me a little bit about your brother, because in all the articles that I've read, it's all centered on the crime. And so I just know that he was 39 at the time and had a son.
Mm-hmm. He was an oil field worker since he was 18. He was my hero. Anytime I needed something, he was there. Didn't matter what time, he was there. Anybody needed something, money, clothes, food, he was willing to help. He was loved by many people.
Now, from the place that he was shot at 23rd Street and Keystone, how far away did he live from there?
2 blocks.
Okay. So was that a normal route that he would take?
No.
Okay. So from what I read, he was living with his brother, or his brother was living with him?
They lived with my parents.
Okay. So everyone lived together.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, while your brother was picking up the kids from school,
he was on his way to pick up my daughter from school.
So, okay.
But she wasn't there. He was on his days off.
Okay.
He works in the oil field. He would work 14 on and 7 off. That Monday was his last day off. He was supposed to go back to work on Tuesday. And my daughter calls him. She calls him to go pick her up, and he said he couldn't because he wanted to rest because he had to go back Tuesday back to work. So she said, okay. She calls me. I pick her up. Well, at 4:45, when he realized she was, I guess he went to go pick her up. He realized she wasn't there. He calls her at 4:45 and talked to her and asked her where she was. And she said, well, my mom picked me up. He told her, okay, well, hurry up so we can go eat something. And, my daughter and my brother were best friends. She was his best friend. And they hung up exactly at 4:49. They talked for 4 minutes. At 4:59, the cops were called. What I don't understand is what happened in that 10-minute window that they killed him. What did he do so bad that they had to kill him?
Okay. In his obituary, explain this to me, because there's a sentence in there that says, that confused me a lot, so you can explain it.
It's an oil field. I know what you're going to say.
Okay. He was an oil field worker and he liked to make it bite?
Yes, the drilling bit.
Okay.
It goes down so it bites the dirt.
Okay.
He loved, that was his passion. He loved the oil field. He loved the oil field. And that's what that was. I mean, that's an expression that oil field workers use.
Okay. Well, I was born in Los Angeles, so I had no idea. Like, okay, so what does this mean? So
yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like a long pipe that has like a drill bit at the bottom, mm-hmm. and it's breaking through the soil to get to the oil.
Okay. And so this has almost been 4 years, mm-hmm. And since then, this has been I can't say or express how horrible an ordeal it has been, because we don't have the crime solved. Mm-hmm. You've had 3 detectives, each working on the crime, and we're still here talking about it. And so, to state the obvious, how do you stay sane?
I work a lot. I work about 46 to 56 hours a week. And when I get home, I am with my family. And I try not to think about it, but you can't, because it's still, the minute you wake up, he's there. The minute you go to bed, he's there. You don't ever, but you have to stay sane. You can't go crazy. I have kids. I have a husband. My parents, my brother, my sister-in-law, my nephews, my niece. You can't give up. You have to keep on going. You want to, but you can't.
Now, when was his birthday?
November the 18th.
Okay. And so he was just shy of his 40th birthday when he was shot. And so we're talking about it, like you said, a 10-minute span where we don't know
What happened.
And we were talking earlier, and you said, I'd like you to tell this story. According to a witness, there was 3 people
in the car.
And okay, and then you had her hypnotized.
We were going through a private detective because OPD wasn't trying to help us. The first detective they had on the case, we didn't like him. When he found out that we had hired a private detective, he said, "You know what? Let him solve the case. I'm done." So we stopped talking to him and we started talking to the private detective. He found us. He asked, when I posted what had happened to my brother, I posted it on one of the trading posts, asking questions. If anybody saw something, please message me. Let me know. Here's my number. Call me. Let me know. Well, a couple people reached out to me, but one stood out because she could tell me everything. Like, she told me detail to detail to detail. She heard the cars. I guess they were chasing each other, or somebody was chasing I really don't know that part. Somebody was chasing somebody. She heard the screeching of the tires, and then she heard arguing. She walked, looked over, saw my brother and this person arguing. And then she says, "Oh, they're just arguing." She didn't think nothing of it. She went back to sit down, from where she was sitting, you couldn't see where they were talking. She sits down, and then she hears the gunshot. And she looks over, she gets up and runs over, and she sees my brother on the ground. So she automatically, her and her friend run over there. And they get to my brother, and I guess they start trying to give him CPR. But yeah, we had them hire a hypnotherapist, and they hypnotized her, and she said that it was 3. She didn't know if they were 3 3 light-skinned black male, or 3 dark-skinned Hispanic males.
Okay.
So she wasn't sure.
And so, was she the one who called the police?
From what I understand, there was several people that called the police because, this was a school day. There was people washing their cars outside, which I don't understand how they didn't get an accurate description of the car.
That's a
or
great
the guys.
question. Yes.
I don't know if they were threatened later. I don't know if I don't know if he was part of the, if they lived around it. I don't know.
Well, I think sometimes in these instances, have you ever met anybody famous?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you see someone famous, the first thing you go is like, "Oh, that person can't be that person." And so your mind takes a long time to dawn on these things. And so you see 2 people fighting in the middle of the street, you think nothing of it. Mm-hmm. By the time that somebody's shot and somebody's driven away, you go, "No, what just happened?"
That's just it. They drove off slowly, and they came back. They drove by this way. When the ambulance got there, she saw them going back this way. So they weren't shy about what they did.
Okay, so there's somebody who's seen more than has let on.
And she's talked to the police.
No, but I mean, besides just her, if there's other, from what you described, there's people washing their cars, they're outside. So there's somebody who knows something more than what they've let on. Because if all these people, but like I said, sometimes it's hard to register and you think, and as time goes by.
Well, see, she said that she saw the license plate number. She said, "I saw it." She said, and she's a trauma nurse. No, she's a nurse, and she tells me, "I'm sorry, I'm not a trauma nurse." She was apologizing to me that she couldn't do more for him. She said, "I'm sorry, I'm not a trauma nurse. I didn't know exactly what to do." And that's it. "Well, do you not remember his license plate?" She says, "To be honest with you, I don't remember." She says, "Had you seen the state your brother was in, you would have forgot it as well. It was not." She says, "I don't want to tell you what I saw, but it was horrific."
Well, and someone had come up and they, because there was clothes found by the truck, and so somebody had tried to do some type of compression.
Well, see what they did. That was from another girl.
Okay.
The one who brought I believe it was like bed sheets or something. That was from the girl across the street. She was actually the very first one that got to my brother. She was the one. She was sitting down Indian style with my brother's head on her lap, and she was putting pressure on his head because that's where he got shot. And her husband is the one who ran and got the blankets to cover him.
Okay. And so for everyone involved in that scene, it had to be really traumatic. Mm-hmm. So,
you know what? We didn't even know what he was wearing. She's the one who told us what he was wearing that day. You know, because she didn't go to the police. She came to our house and told us. She says, "I've already talked to the police, but they don't seem to hear me. So I'm coming to you." And she sat in our living room and she told us. And we asked her, "Did it look like he suffered? We want to know." And she says, "Are you sure you want to know?" "Yes, we want to know." She says, "No, I don't think he suffered at all, because when I saw him," she said, his eyes were closed, and I was talking to him and he was trying to talk, but his eyes were closed." And that's
okay. And so since then, you've done a lot of work, you were telling me, as far as handing out flyers mm-hmm. and trying to get any information that you can on this case. And so
I even put a sticker on the back of my car.
Oh, okay.
"Justice for Humberto Palma." Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so all around town, people see it. All around town.
And so, and you have one brother. Do you have any other sisters?
No.
Okay, so
it was just us three.
Just you three, okay. And so, and your parents are both still living.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so how does it affect them?
They're not my parents anymore. They're consumed by the pain of losing a son. They'd rather be in Mexico than be here to relive every day what happened, because he lived with them. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard for them to be at home. My dad's lost about 40 pounds since that happened. His health has deteriorated. My mom cries every day. It's hard. It's hard.
Well, and then the holidays, birthdays, Christmas. I mean, like you said, you are a mother, so you have to continue on and celebrate. But you just get stuck in this horrible void where it just sucks all the happiness out of you.
Actually, the first year we were really, really debating whether we should have Christmas and Thanksgiving. Thank you. We were debating if we should have Christmas or Thanksgiving, because he died in September, his birthday was November, and then, of course, Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year's.
Birthday.
His birthday, we celebrated his birthday. We had a very private family affair.
Yeah, funeral.
Because
cemetery.
Yeah, we went to the cemetery. We took him balloons. We had a cake. We had everything, and that because. Just because he's no longer here doesn't mean that we're going to forget about him, because we can't forget about him. And we know that Umberto would have never wanted for the kids. Umberto loved his nieces and nephews. He had lots of nieces and nephews. He would have never wanted us to stop Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was his favorite holiday, even more than Christmas. He would have never wanted us to stop. So our first Thanksgiving, we set the table, and he was at the head of the table. His picture was at the head of the table, and he had a plate. We served him a plate with his picture.
So, for people who see this, that have information, what would you tell them? Because, I would imagine random people aren't going to watch. So either they want to know how close we are to catching them, or they are friends or relatives of you who support you. And so someone out there is watching this probably right now thinking, what do they know and how close are they to solving this?
Honestly, all I got to say is, if you were so quick to pull the trigger, you were such of a man to pull the trigger, be a man and turn yourself in. You did the crime. pay for it. You know, whoever did this will never know what they did to our family. They destroyed our family. And I mean, our family will never be whole again because they stole his life. He wasn't ready to go. My brother was a very strong man who had years ahead of him, all taken away by a cowardly act, because that's what it was. He was a cowardly act. He wasn't brave. I mean, this is being brave, not this shooting with a gun. No, that's not being brave.
Okay. Well, if you have seen this and have this Crime Stopper sign is right behind her, please call 333-TIPS. If you have any information, you can see how horrible, traumatic this has been for the family. And so even if you have just the tiniest bit of information, please share it, and so we can get this crime solved so we don't go into 5 and 6 and 7 years. And so thank you very much for sitting down with me today. And this is Odessa After Dark.
Wow.